Hello and welcome to East Bay Community Energy's Resilient Home webinar. We're just going to do a quick check to make sure all of our logistics are working, and we'll get started in a few minutes. Thanks for your patience.
Hey, Jesse, can you hear me? Just a quick test on volume. Jesse, can you hear me okay? A quick test on volume. Jesse, can you hear me okay?
There we go. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, now I can hear you. All right, great. Let's go ahead and get started. We have participants. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thanks so much for your patience as we work through some logistical hurdles. My name is Jessie Denver, and first and foremost, let me thank you for spending your lunch hour with us to learn more about EBCE's Resilient Home program. I am EBCE's Distributed Energy Resources Program Manager and am coordinating the Resilient Home program along with my colleague from Sunrun, Nate Henson, who is also on the line. And on today's webinar, this is our agenda. We'll talk a little bit about EBCE and who we are and why we've launched this program in Alameda County. We'll also introduce why we think this program is so important at this moment in time. Then I'll turn it over to Nate to give you some background on Sunrun as a company. And Nate will also cover the basics of solar and battery backup systems, what you have as financing options through this program and with Sunrun. We'll talk about applicable incentives, and then we'll have plenty of time for Q&A. On the last slide of this deck, there is an email that if you're calling in, you can submit questions by email. And also we'll be using the chat function here in the Zoom platform for you to submit questions, and we'll get to all of those questions. So let's get started. East Bay Community Energy, for those of you who aren't familiar with exactly who we are Alameda County's public power agency. We were actually formed in 2016 as a joint power authority of Alameda County by 11 of Alameda County cities and the county itself. And we were formed so that these public agencies could take more control over the electricity that residents and businesses use throughout Alameda County to both help lower costs for residents and businesses and to help the cities and counties meet their climate action goals faster by procuring more renewable energy content. So as a not-for-profit public agency, we provide electricity service to residents, commercial, industrial, and public sector customers. And this transition from PG&E being your electricity provider to East Bay Community Energy came organically, transitioned organically. That is, you were automatically rolled over into becoming an EBCE customer. When we launched, you still get a PG&E bill, And that is because the Public Power Agency and PG&E have an agreement that the power that we are procuring on behalf of residents and businesses is being delivered through PG&E's wires and poles. And so on your PG&E bill, we are a line item for the electricity generation component of your bill. There are a lot of benefits to the county having a public power agency, including the fact that we are locally governed. We actually have a board of directors that approves all budget allocation, program development, and the decisions of EBCE. And that board of directors is made up of representatives from each of the Joint Power Authority member communities. As a public power agency, we have no shareholders, so we're able to take revenue from the sale of electricity and reinvest it back into the community in the form of programs like Resilient Home. We're also working on building decarbonization, energy efficiency, and we have a lot going on the transportation and goods movement electrification front as well. We've recently expanded our service area. So we now have all the cities in Alameda County as members of the Joint Power Authority, with the exception of the city of Alameda, which has its own municipal utility already. And we've expanded into San Joaquin County with the city of Tracy, just over the Altamont Pass, opting into the Joint Power Authority. So for our first local program, we really wanted to help make the process of installing solar and storage simple and affordable. We wanted to reduce that complexity. We know that a lot of homeowners are often wondering, how do I go solar? Who do I pick? What's the best technology for me? And that can sometimes, there's too many choices and it just leads to analysis paralysis. Nobody moves forward with actually doing their project. So we wanted to help reduce that complexity. And so what we did was we issued a competitive solicitation to the industry to identify a qualified and experienced vendor that would be able to provide great pricing and customer service to our customers to help you see if going solar and storage could be a good fit for your home. By providing this vetted contractor, again, we're really trying to reduce some of the steps that it takes for you to get to a point of making a decision of whether to sign a contract and move forward with your project or not. And when we do this at a large scale, we are actually pooling the buying power of all of our customers and EBCE as an organization to try to get you the best deal, not just from a cost perspective, but also from an overall product perspective, like on warranties, customer service, assurance that you're working with a firm who will be around for the long term. And so after we issued that RFP, we selected Sunrun, and we're pleased to be working with them on the implementation of Resilient Home. And over the last couple months, wildfires and rolling blackouts and PG&E public safety power shutoff events have been front and center for everyone in Alameda County. And so we felt that launching this program was very timely, and we really wanted to help everyone get ready for your own home's resilience planning for the next fire season. And although we've all been experiencing extreme heat and wind and wildfires, we also, want to remind everybody that we're also vulnerable to a major earthquake. And the Lifeline Council has actually estimated that if we were to experience a major earthquake of, over 7.0, that it's possible the electricity grid could be down for 5 to 7 days. So good way to plan for all events. So this is the program website, and who's eligible? Homeowners. Homeowners are eligible to participate in this program, and you need to be an EBCE customer. And generally, homeowners are single-family homeowners. but we also have condo and townhome owners where you might have some good real estate on your rooftop to be able to install solar. Apartment owners can be applicable or eligible participants, and it's definitely going to be on a case-by-case basis because you might not have the amount of real estate on your rooftop which is shared as a condo or townhome owner. So, you know, we encourage you to sign up and have Sunrun walk through those options with you. And if it turns out that you can't install solar on your condo, townhome, or apartment, we do have a 100% renewable energy product that our customer service team can help you upgrade your account to if that's of interest. So this is the URL, Resilient Home, and there you'll find a registration form. All of your information in that registration form comes directly to EBCE, and we don't share that with anyone but Sunrun. We have an automatic back-end process where your customer information and all of your electricity usage data automatically transfers to Sunrun so that when their customer service rep calls you, they know exactly what kind of load your home has, and they're able to look ahead of time at your home via their proprietary Google Earth sizing tool to see the orientation of your roof to the sun, any shading obstructions, really try to understand what kind of real estate you have on your rooftop to produce solar energy. They'll set up a phone and video consultation or video consultation with you. And then send you a proposal for your consideration. This is no cost, no obligation. Again, we're really just trying to help you get to a point of deciding if this could be a good fit for you. And, you know, if you decide to also get a couple quotes from a few other contractors, no problem. Again, our goal is to really reduce the cost and complexity for you and get you to a point where you have proposals in hand and, you know, we've been able to help you get to that decision-making point. Then after, if you decide to go forward with your project, we encourage you to schedule your installation, sign that contract, and get started with your project. We already have over 600 people enrolled in the program and over 50 proposals in process. So we really do want to help you, get on Sunrun's schedule and get your project on the roof and in your garage. Sunrun will help you with all of the incentive paperwork, and Nate's going to tell you a little bit more about the incentives. You'll see this slide one more time at the end of the presentation, so if you didn't get the URL, no problem. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Nate.
All right, thanks, Jesse. We're very excited to be partnering with EBCE on the Resilient Home Program and really continue our mission to create a planet run by the sun. Sunrun does this by focusing on residential home solar, as Jesse mentioned. So we are in the business of helping consumers install solar panels on your rooftop, install a home battery for backup power, really with the idea of helping you take control of your home energy. The benefits being that you can keep the power running during power outages. You can really start to control your energy costs on an annual basis. And you can become part of the clean energy community in Alameda County that's really trying to create a reliable and clean backup grid for the community. Sunrun was founded in 2007, so we've been doing this for a lot of years. We are the leading national provider headquartered in San Francisco, but we do have several branch offices around the Bay Area, in the East Bay, in the South Bay, and the North Bay. So we have a very strong presence in the Bay Area, serving quite a few customers, but also doing business in 22 states, the District of Columbia, and Puerto Rico. So we're very much the pioneer of residential solar service, and that is our focus. We don't necessarily focus on commercial and other entities. We're all about helping homeowners install solar. So let's move on to the next slide. All right, so a little about how solar and battery backup works. So all of you are likely very familiar with solar panels and rooftop solar. These panels are placed on your roof to produce energy from solar energy, and that is converted through an inverter process into energy that can power your home. One addition to our service model that is becoming more and more popular is the introduction of a home battery. So as your solar panels produce energy during the day, any energy that you're not using was previously provided back into the grid. This can now be stored in your home battery for use later on. You will have a meter that can monitor both the production of your home battery and your solar panels, and then any excess energy that's not either used by the home or stored in the battery can be provided back into the energy grid to receive a credit on your electric bill. So overall, this creates a nice localized system that can power your home, both keeping the power on during blackouts, as we mentioned, but also allows you to utilize the energy generated by solar panels after the sun goes down. Let's move on to the next slide. All right, so we often get questions about what makes a good roof for solar or a good solar site. And this is something that Sunrun will help you troubleshoot, as Jesse mentioned, through a couple of technologies we use in the consultation process. So first, we want to look at the orientation of your roof. Generally, a 30 to 45 degree roof angle works best for capturing the maximum level of solar energy through the sun's ecliptic during the day. If it's too shallow or too steep, it can often not capture the full capability of solar energy throughout the day. We also look at shading from nearby buildings or from trees. And then we also want to evaluate your annual energy usage. So we want to look at seasonality, because clearly solar panels can produce more in the summer, a little bit less in the winter, but that's a little less of a problem here in the Bay Area because of good weather, though we do need to factor in smog, and now a little bit more, unfortunately, these days, the smoky periods of the year. Again, this is something that the solar consultant will really speak through and help you troubleshoot any issues. So we just encourage you to have the conversation. Let's go to the next slide. All right, a little bit more about the home battery. So what the battery does is it is attached to your house, and it's attached to the localized system behind the meter. During the day, the solar panels will charge the battery to its fullest extent. And then during the evening time, you'll be able to use that battery power, and then that process will repeat on a daily basis. So if the power goes out for multiple days, your solar system will recharge the battery every day. You can use the battery throughout the night. This allows you to keep your food fresh, your devices charged, be able to continue to power your home when the power is out, or even at night when the sun goes down and your solar panels aren't generating energy. We do offer multiple products for the battery. We offer a partial home battery backup, which has a slightly lower price point. So it's a way to get a home battery without having a larger expense. But we also offer a whole home backup battery using the Tesla Powerwall 2, which is a really nice battery, can power your whole home for the duration of the evening. It has a slightly higher price point, but it is a product that can allow, even if your energy use is high or your house is large, it allows us to stack multiple batteries to ensure we're supporting your entire energy needs for your home. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, so the Resilient Home program is not just about installing solar and battery. That's what we absolutely want to work with you to do. It's about creating a renewable, cost-effective grid for Alameda County. So what the plan is that we are going to create an interconnected grid of backup batteries that will be allowed to provide backup energy power for the localized grid. What are the benefits? This is about providing more reliable and a less expensive infrastructure for backup power. It is also a more resilient grid, so it is going to be able to last into the future to keep energy costs lower, and ultimately be able to give Alameda County the confidence that you will have backup power when there are issues with the larger energy grid, or during surge times when the usage of the community exceeds the capacity. There is a $1,250 incentive for enrolling in this program. So in addition to installing your solar panels and your home battery, when you enroll in Resilient Home and agree to connect your battery to the grid, you will be provided this incentive. So there was one person who asked a question about a recent install. We can talk about that at the end. But overall, we want to provide this incentive for people that enroll in the Resilient Home program, so we can talk further with you about that. One thing we do want to clarify is that enrolling in the program won't affect your use of the battery. So the answer to, well, will you use energy that I might need for my battery for my home? The answer to that is no. Your battery will always maintain a sufficient level of energy to power your home during the evening times, and the battery will not be used if there is a power outage. Or it will not be used by the grid when there's a power outage. So if you need your battery to back up your home when the power is out, your battery will not be used to provide that backup power. So your home is always the priority as part of this program, but it has the added benefit of being able to provide backup power to the grid. Let's go to the next slide. So why does this model make sense? Why does it make sense to not only install solar, but install a backup battery? So what we have here is a model of typical electricity use. This might not be your home energy use, and in many ways now during COVID, this model does not necessarily apply because more people are home during the day. But typically your energy use is a slight spike in the morning before things get going. Then in the midday, energy use lowers, and then at the evening time, you see peak rates. Currently, a lot of energy plans have higher rates during the evening. So what is happening is you're paying for higher rates as you use more energy. Let's go to the next slide. When you install solar panels, what this allows you to do is produce energy during the day and use it to cover your daily energy use. But one of the downsides is it stops producing intuitively as the sun goes down. So any excess energy you might have produced during the day to cover your midday energy usage will be sold back into the power grid, but at night you will still need to be connected to the energy grid to power your home through the evening and through the night. Let's go to the next slide. When you install solar panels with a home battery, this allows you to utilize the energy produced during the day, store it in the battery, and then use the battery's power during the evening during the time when there is peak rates. So while there is an extra cost to installing the battery, it does allow the ability to lower your overall energy usage and your overall energy cost potentially by allowing you to use the battery's power during the evening and then sell any excess energy back into the grid. It also, as we mentioned, has the added benefit of keeping your power on when there are outages, but these two added benefits together really give you the opportunity to control how your energy is used and to be able to move in the direction of using electric vehicles or powering your home with smart devices or anything you'd like to do to improve your overall energy efficiency. This is what Sunrun is in the business of talking to consumers about and helping you really learn how you can maximize and save against your energy usage and your energy dollar. All right, so let's go to the next slide. All right, so Sunrun does offer multiple ways to pay for your system, and these offer flexibility in terms of the ownership and maintenance of the system on one axis, and then also the amount of money you're going to pay up front versus over the length of the period of time of the contract or the life of the system. So it's really, you know, who is maintaining the system, and then how much you're going to pay either up front or over time. The first option we offer is a monthly lease. So this allows you to get into the solar and battery system with zero or very little money down. You will then have a locked-in price for the duration of the lease. And the price of that lease is really designed to cover the energy costs of your home. So during the consultation, you will work with Sunrun to design and create a system for your home that covers your current and potentially your future energy use for your home. So we want to take a look at your monthly energy bills, see what you're using on an ongoing basis, and then really provide the level of panels needed to cover that energy, plus a little bit more production in the case your energy profile increases in the future. You don't necessarily want to install a system that is too large because there is a fixed cost to solar panels. So you know, installing a system that is larger than you need is not necessarily as cost effective, though installing one that is smaller is not cost effective. So we really want to work with you to get the size of the system correct. And then we want to provide the option to pay for that over the course of the lease. One of the major benefits is this locks in energy prices now, given the unknowns of how energy prices might increase in the future, and also allows you to pay for the system over the time without an upfront cost. But one of the main benefits is that Sunrun is going to maintain the maintenance and ownership over the system for the duration of the lease. So if any issues happen, any maintenance needed, any problems with the solar panels or the battery, Sunrun will address them in full. and really be there to support you for the life of the lease. We also offer a lease option, which we call our full lease, which has the same benefits of service and maintenance, but it's simply about paying more upfront versus paying for the lease over time. So again, the benefits of the lease, but it's about paying, if you have the ability to pay upfront and you want to do that now to lock in more of the savings upfront, you can do that with a full lease. We then also offer options to purchase the system. So there's a full purchase in cash, which you can do upfront. So this might provide you some savings over the life of the system, but you will be the owner of the system and you will be responsible for the maintenance and any warranties with the providers directly. And then there are also options to finance the purchase. So this is again where you would purchase the system, you would own the system, but with a variety of different loan providers, you might be able to get into solar with zero down and then have payments over time. With the purchase option, Sunrun does offer a full service protection plus program. So these are all the options you can speak to with your solar consultant. But overall, we want to find the best package that's right for you. So this is what having the conversation is all about, and we'll point you in the right direction. The ideal package for the Resilient Home Program, though, is the monthly lease. This allows you to be able to do the solar panels plus the home battery. It allows you to roll in the grid services program to be a part of Resilient Home and to get the incentive. So we do recommend the monthly lease as an option for this program, but all of the options are available to you as a consumer. Let's go to the next slide. All right, a little bit on the incentives. So when you enroll in the Resilient Home Program, in addition to installing solar and home battery, you will receive the $1,250 incentive for sharing your energy and your battery backup with East Bay Community Energy. So this is the primary incentive. It's provided when your system is installed and allows you to offset the cost of your system. There are also incentives available through the California Self-Generation Incentive Program, or SGIP. There's currently for battery storage an incentive of 25 cents per watt hour. So depending on your battery backup usage, there is the ability to get incentives through the state that can offset the cost of your program. There's also the federal investment tax credit, which is currently at 26%. That's stepped down from originally at 30. It'll step down to 22% in 2021, and then ultimately it will expire in 2022. So it definitely is better to get in on the purchase and the installation of your solar system sooner rather than later, because the tax credit is built into the cost savings of your system. Okay, the next slide. All right, so with that, we want to go ahead and move into answering any questions. But before we do, just want to say that the Resilient Home Program has been very successful in its start since early August. We've had 600 homeowners in Alameda County sign up and speak to us about installing solar. Again, when you sign up on the Resilient Home page, this is a no obligation consultation. So it's simply about having a conversation where we will walk you through all of your options. We will look at your energy usage. We will look at the system that is the right fit for your home. And then ultimately, if you decide, you can move forward with a proposal, a contract, and then scheduling your installation. So with that, we'll go ahead and answer your questions in the chat, or you can submit them through the information here. With that, Jesse, anything else to add?
No, I just actually, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. I did want to add on the grid services piece that this was one of the reasons why we selected Sunrun, is because they do have the capability to manage batteries in this way. And for some of you, installing solar and storage is very new. For those of us who have been engaged in the solar industry for a long time, this is the evolution of the solar industry, is starting to create this two-way communication between the electricity provider and the customer, and really being able to have a distributed network of systems that can help make the grid more reliable and clean. So EBCE is one of the only load serving entities or kind of public power agencies that are embarking on this, and we won't be the last. We have a number of other colleagues who are also pursuing kind of this grid services approach. But I did just want to note that, the grid services piece might sound new, And this is the evolution of the solar and storage industry. EBCE is ahead of the curve. So with that, let's go ahead and take some questions, Nate. The first question, my Sunrun system was installed about 3 weeks ago. Am I eligible for the incentive? Self-owned system with battery backup.
So it's a self-owned system. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Mark owns the system with battery backup. So you installed it 3 weeks ago. So that is within the time of when we launched, and sounds like he would be applicable for the grid services incentive as long as that battery got enrolled into the program.
Yeah, and so I think that's the caveat. So what we would like to do, let's confirm how you want to manage this. Should we have Mark send his information into either the email or into EBCE Community's customer service? That way we can get them enrolled in the program.
Yeah,
there
great.
is one caveat on the customer-owned side, which is that we do need to create an agreement where Sunrun can manage your battery. So that is something that we need to have a discussion about, because it's not just about installing the solar, it's about enrolling in the program.
Right.
So please do send us your information and we can look into how to do that.
Great. Mark, if you could email me at the local-programs@ebce.org email address there, I'll help connect you with Nate and our program manager at Sunrun. AJ wrote, I am getting a battery installation now and have an existing solar system. Will I be eligible for the incentive? Great question. So this is version 1.0 of Resilient Home, and it's really focused on installing new solar and battery backup systems. So you're not able to enroll your battery yet. We anticipate rolling out some version 2.0 of Resilient Home, where we would offer a bring your own battery option to homeowners. And for that grid services that your battery would provide, we would also offer some sort of incentive for that. When we roll out the bring your own battery version 2.0 is yet to be determined, simply because we are trying to get version 1.0 going. So I would anticipate that's probably 12 to 24 months off. However, as a net energy metering customer, we will notify you as soon as something like that becomes available. And for any of you who also have existing solar and are interested in installing battery backup to your existing solar system, Sunrun is working on a retrofit product. And the most important thing about this retrofit product is that it will come with a warranty. And we hope that it will be available by Q1 of 2021 at the latest. And as soon as that is ready, we will be sending emails out to all of our existing solar customers to let you know that Sunrun has that available, and we'll help connect you with Sunrun so that you can talk about what your options are in retrofitting your existing solar array. Another question from AJ here. Tesla Powerwall battery chemistry uses lithium cobalt manganese oxide. Is that more effective compared to lithium iron phosphate chemistry? Do you offer both battery chemistry types? So I'll start this off and then I'll turn it over to Nate. So through the program, Sunrun offers the LG Chem battery, which can help you partially back up your home, or offers the Tesla Powerwall 2. And depending on how much solar you can install and how much electricity you actually use, you can install multiple Powerwalls, of course, to try to back up as much as your home as you want. With regards to the battery chemistry, I'll turn that over to Nate.
Yes, so I need to do a little research here to understand if the LG Chem does use the lithium iron phosphate versus the lithium cobalt. What we've been doing is following up and putting these items on the FAQ on the EBCE website. So we'll go ahead and do that. But I will say that the Tesla Powerwall 2 battery really is the premier battery in the industry right now. It is designed to back up your whole home for the duration of the night. It's stackable, so you can have multiple batteries if your usage exceeds the use of one battery. So, I would need to do a little research to see, which might be superior to the others, but these are really all about the providers and their product mix and what they provide. And we're really providing those as a certified installer of those. So let's look into the LG Chem to see if it has the alternative. But, we really do feel like the Tesla Powerwall 2 is the premium product.
Great, thanks. A question received from Alan through our email. Do the terms of the lease provide for cleaning of the solar panels?
So the cleaning of the solar panels is something you can work with our customer care team. Generally, the panels need to be cleaned on a relatively infrequent basis, and the cleaning is simply a matter of spraying them off with a hose oftentimes. So this can either be done by you. It's not necessarily something that requires a service visit to do, but it is something that you can explore with Sunrun customer care about the best way to do that. And Sunrun is also monitoring your panel productivity and will be able to notify you if they feel like there is dirt or something impeding the production of your solar panels. That said, as part of the lease product, we do offer a full warranty for the life of the lease. So, in addition to cleaning off the panels, if there are any repairs needed on the technology or any service-oriented, Sunrun does cover the cost of that. So, as far as cleaning, I think it's dependent on the level of cleaning needed. But ultimately, there is a comprehensive warranty on the solar and battery as part of the Sunrun lease options.
And generally, cleaning off your system is pretty easy if you're comfortable getting up on your roof, if that's an easy thing to do. If, of course, you have a two-story home and that's not easy, then, that's certainly something to check in with Sunrun about. But hosing off your solar panels, due to all the smoke and ash and whatnot, usually does the trick, as does rain when we start to have rain again. All right, so question, is there any rebate or any portion of the full rebate if I don't include my battery to be controlled remotely? For clarification, there are two incentives that we've been talking about. There's the state of California's incentive, which everyone is eligible for, and Sunrun will help you apply for that incentive. And you don't need to enroll your battery in the grid services component of Resilient Home to access the state incentive. To be eligible for EBCE and Sunrun's incentive that's tied to the grid services part of Resilient Home, you would need to enroll your battery in that part of the program. And again, that's an additional $1,250 incentive. What would be the cost difference, Nate, between a cash financing option versus a lower interest long-term financing option?
That would really depend on the rates you get from a variety of different providers. So what we would recommend is evaluating those two options against each other and making a determination. A lot of this also depends on, the size of the system and the cost of your particular system. So there's not one singular cost for these systems. It's going to vary based on your system size. So this is something that would need to be determined during the consultation, and just recommend if you're going the option of financing, then, to just evaluate, what the total costs are side by side.
Great, thanks. We have a
Jesse,
question.
I think we skipped one about the monthly lease being ideal.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Sure, I'll go ahead and read it. Can you please repeat again why the monthly lease is ideal, especially if you have the cash? So if you have the cash, then the monthly lease is not as ideal. The reason we do say that is many people do not have the cash to pay for the system up front. So if you do have the cash, there are the two options. One is you can purchase the system and own it, or you can do the upfront paid lease. And the difference between those two is on the lease side, Sunrun maintains ownership of the system and all of the maintenance on the cash purchase, the ownership and maintenance is on you. So those are two things that, you know, perhaps there is over the long term, when you think of maintenance and warranties and upkeep, you'd want to factor that into the overall cost analysis. And that's something you can do in speaking with the solar consultant.
Yeah, and just to add on that, Nate, because we did receive a question from someone else about something similar, is, you know, if you do opt to own your system and you really want someone else to kind of operate and maintain your system, even though you own it, Sunrun does have an O&M component that you can pay extra for that service. So if anything happens, they're there to come and check it out and help you replace components, fix stuff, etc. So definitely talk to your Sunrun rep about your interest and kind of walk through what those options are. All right, question. We may have solar on our main building soon, but without a battery. Can we add a battery through this program? Again, right now, Resilient Home is focused on installing new solar and battery backup systems. We aim to have, you know, a version 2.0 of the program where we're potentially installing just battery backup in some instances, but sooner than later, we'll have a retrofit product for batteries to existing solar systems. And again, we aim for that part of the program to roll out in no later than Q1 of 2021. And we'll send notification to everyone who is a net energy metering customer or a solar customer, letting them know that that has gone live. So if you are installing solar through another provider on your main building soon, Aaron, then you'll become a NEM customer of EBCEs and you'll receive that notification when Sunrun's retrofit product rolls out. If you haven't signed a contract yet with your solar provider, you know, please touch base with Sunrun and see what they can do for you and then compare the two proposals that you have. Question. Can EBCE work with installers other than Sunrun? The answer is no. Again, we went through a competitive request for proposal solicitation process and vetted a lot of industry providers to ultimately select Sunrun as our project partner. Again, because Sunrun is providing the grid services component of this program for EBCE, they are the only provider that's eligible to install the solar and storage systems and eventually retrofit existing solar with battery backup to participate in that grid services component of the program. What PG&E rates, Nate, do your Sunrun reps usually suggest a homeowner transition to when they install solar and battery backup systems?
You know, this is really dependent on the homeowner, but, you know, I believe one of the things that you do is you go on the net energy metering rate, Jesse, which I believe you have a little bit more information about, but I can't say that there is a normally suggested rate that you go on, right? This is really dependent on a variety of things. There are also rates for medical devices. There are a lot of different options that PG&E offers. So, you know, again, recommends you have this discussion with the solar consultant and figure out what was going to be best for you now that you're making the change to solar and battery.
Great, thanks. Question that is multiple questions from Marna. Given that there is no in-person site visit, how does the Sunrun team work through siting for the battery, capacity for the solar array, and the suitability of the roof, both condition and, you know, potential structural issues?
Yes. So what we are saying is that we're going to try to do as much as we can right now virtually or over the phone, because typically in the past, the consultation has been at the home, it's been in person, it's been allowing to have a bit of a site visit. So what we first do as the initial consultation is we'll use Google to take a look at your roof and try to determine the overall suitability and see if there are any issues that need to be overcome. That said, the site visit and the installation, you do not necessarily need to be there for these, so they don't need to be an in-person conversation. But we ultimately will use, someone will come in person to do the final site audit, and we use drones for that. So what we do is we use a drone to go and be able to take a view of the roof and really use that for the final design. And then the installation can simply happen through scheduling, and the installers do not need to meet with you. They don't need to come in the house. They don't need to interact in any way unless you choose to do so. And it's all done in a safe environment with distancing and with masks. So while we do not maintain or we do not insist that there be any in-person interaction, there will be people involved in completing the evaluation process.
And following on that, Nate, if any issues were to come up during the permitting and installation process and the project was for some reason deemed infeasible, I'm not quite sure, you know, how many cases, in what cases that actually happens. Sometimes historic designation that can happen, that might be an issue down the road. Just confirming if there's any cost to the homeowner, you know, because they've gotten to a certain point in working with you, if there was an issue that was discovered during that permitting phase.
Yeah, sorry, I missed that second part of the question. No, there are not. And that is, I think, one of the benefits of working with Sunrun is, you know, we try to catch these issues as early as possible in the process. But that said, even, you know, if you're well down the line of the process, there is the ability to cancel the project and decline to proceed. And so, you know, there are really no cost to you until the system is installed on your roof and it's ready to operate.
Great, thanks. We did receive a question about if you can install ground-mounted systems, and we have had this question come up a few times since we launched the program. The answer is no. Sunrun doesn't install ground-mounted systems in Northern California. They can, however, refer you to another installation firm who does do those ground-mounted installations. However, because it's not installed by Sunrun, you wouldn't be eligible for EBCE's incentive. Anything to add there, Nate?
Nope, that sounds right. Yeah, our focus is on residential, but you know, ground mounts can, if you have the room, be a good option. And you know, yeah, we can help refer you to people to discuss it. Great,
thanks. Following up on the earlier question where someone is already having solar installed on their main house, they also have a cottage in the back that could accommodate a very small solar array. Will EBCE soon have a program to help our low-income co-op install solar and battery on our cottage roof? Great question. EBCE right now doesn't have that kind of an option, and it won't be a focus of ours for a while. You can, you know, of course, connect with Sunrun. That's quite a small system, and many installers, you know, have a minimum for the size system that they'll actually install. But, you know, talk to 2 or 3 installers to see what your options might be there. Additionally, because on your main home, you're already taking the federal investment tax credit, you can only take that one time. And so, you know, that's something to consider too with regards to the cost of both systems and how that ties into your meter. And then, of course, you'll need to see when you work with that solar installer if there's multiple meters at your home, et cetera. But we, EBCE, don't yet have an option for that. With regards to affordable multifamily low-income properties generally, Resilient Home does have a multifamily component to it where Sunrun is contracted with EBCE to actually be helping affordable and market rate multifamily property owners and managers install solar and storage through the system to meet tenant load, common shared spaces, etc. Nate, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. While there are a variety of incentives, for this particular, program, there have been a variety of incentives through the state and things. So we just encourage you to keep an eye on those, as will EBCE and Sunrun. Should there be new budgets or should there be new programs that come up for low-income families, it's something that is a focus of the state and is a focus of a Sunrun. So I just encourage you to keep an eye on the Resilient Home page and stay connected with EBCE, because these programs, while not available now, may be available in the future, because it is something that we want to be addressing. We want solar to be a product that's available to the full marketplace and not just be something that's available for people that can afford it.
Yeah, and that's definitely why I wanted to note that we do have a multifamily component to Resilient Home, and that you are working with some of the East Bay's major multifamily affordable housing providers to deploy systems in our service territory through this program. All right, can you share which other counties in Northern California have Resilient Home-like programs? Sure, more than happy to do that. So similar to East Bay Community Energy, San Mateo has a public power agency called Peninsula Clean Energy. Silicon Valley has two. One is associated with the city of San Jose, and the other is Silicon Valley Clean Energy. North of us is MCE, which serves Marin and Contra Costa counties. And PCE, Silicon Valley Clean Energy, and MCE all have similar programs. In fact, in San Mateo County, PCE is also contracted with Sunrun, as is Silicon Valley Clean Energy. MCE, which serves, again, Marin and Contra Costa counties, they are contracted with a different provider, and you can find, I'm happy to help make that connection if you're in their service territory to our colleagues at MCE. You can just email me there at the local program's email address. All right, could you give an example of a solar and battery system cost for a project you have done? This is a great question, and it's something that we get all the time. What is it going to cost me? And we generally would like everyone to understand that there is no one size fits all for solar. As Nate explained earlier, the size solar system that you're going to be able to install is going to be totally dependent on your roof's configuration to the sun throughout the day, if you have any shading issues from adjacent trees or chimneys or neighboring buildings. And it's going to be dependent on how much electricity you actually use at home. You might be very energy efficient and have a lot of room for solar, but you only really need a 3.5 kilowatt system. Whereas your neighbor might have teenagers who use a lot of gadgets and computers, and they might have a lot of electricity load. But unfortunately, their roof is facing the wrong way and they can't install a large system. So this is why it's so important to just get a proposal to understand what your options are. With that said, Sunrun in Alameda County, the average system size that they install is about a 6 kilowatt system. And their average installation cost for that system is about $3.80 a watt. So that is about $23,000. And then they are installing the Tesla Powerwall at the cost of about $12,000 per system. Nate, does that sound about right?
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So again, that's average for Alameda County. If you're in a smaller home in Berkeley, likely not going to be as applicable for you as someone who maybe lives out in the Tri-Valley area and has more space with a larger home. So important to get that individualized proposal.
Right. And as part of the proposal, the idea is we want to look at your energy use over time. So the idea is to size the system correctly so that it's supporting your energy use. It's locking in a lower energy price now that's going to hedge against the potential rise of energy costs in the future. And that over time, there is a savings opportunity. So while the cost of the systems is you know, it is substantial, what we want to do is make sure that it pays off as an investment for you over time. And on average, that is what we're able to do by working with you to really understand your individual needs.
Great, thanks. We only have 3 more minutes, and I think we have about 3 more questions, so maybe we can get through this pretty quick. With a battery, how much can you save off your monthly bill by load shifting on average? Nate, I'm going to turn this one over to you.
Yeah, that's another question where we really need to look at your individual energy usage, because it's going to vary so much. You know, it really depends on what your energy usage during the peak energy times during the evening. So as what differing from the average cost of a system installation size, I don't actually have the numbers on what you could save on the energy bill because it is so varying person by person. So again, we just encourage you to have the conversation, and ultimately it's the same conversation. We want to see how much the battery can help you in offsetting your peak energy usage rates. There's also the added benefit of the fact that it's going to provide backup power during backup outage or power outages. And then we want the savings to be greater than the cost of the battery to actually purchase it over time. And so that's a calculation we want to have you go through with the consultant.
Great. Before I read the last question, I'm going to ask Aaron to follow up with me at the local program's email address there on his multifamily affordable housing question. So this last question comes from AJ. If I sign a contract today, what is the wait time for the system to actually be installed?
So again, this one really varies on a lot of different factors. So it's not that there's a wait time or a wait list for this. It's that after you sign the contract, we go through a system design process. That design is then approved by you. We also go through all the permitting processes with you. And then at that point, it's about scheduling the installation. It's about getting the crew out there. It's about getting it installed. And each of the stages of coordination of this do take time. So in some cases, we can get a system installed as little as 2 to 3 weeks. In other times, it takes about a month to a month and a half. In some times, if we're really not getting a lot of good progress with the permitting system, then it could take up to 2 months. So what we have is we have an installation coordinator that works very closely with all of our teams to streamline this process and to make it as efficient as possible. And then as part of the contract and education process, they'll really let you know all of the different steps involved. So, you know, relative to what you might have heard from other systems in the industry, this isn't about a wait time or the fact that there is any delays in the process. It's just a very involved process that will keep you informed of as you get even to the contract stage to set your expectations.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Nate. I want to thank everyone for spending your lunch hour with us. We really appreciate your interest in the Resilient Home Program. Again, EBCE is here to help. We're here to answer questions or concerns that you might have, and we're really here to just make the process of deciding if solar and storage is a good fit for your home easier. So if you're interested in getting a proposal from Sunrun, please visit the website, sign up. Again, that information will be shared with Sunrun. Their sales reps should contact you within 1 business day at the most. If for some reason you don't hear from them, please ping us, let us know, and we'll follow up directly with their program manager to see if you somehow got caught up in our automation process. That has happened, and we're here to help resolve any issues. Again, if you decide to go with a different installer after you've gotten a few quotes, no problem. Our goal is to help you figure out if solar and storage is a good fit for your home and to get you across that finish line. So again, thanks so much for your interest. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at any time, and have a great afternoon. Thanks.